Okay, so good afternoon, students. Greetings and welcome to the lectures on engineering mechanics. So we are studying unit number 3, part B, that is space force system, finding resultant and equilibrium. Right. So yesterday we have revised for two-dimensional case how to resolve a force when the angle made by the force is defined as with respect to positive x-axis as shown in the figure. Okay, maybe with respect to positive x-axis or positive y-axis, right? And the same knowledge we extended for the three-dimensional case, that means space force system. So space force system is also called as 3D case. Okay, and we have seen that the x component of the force, okay, if OA is a force F, and if F is the magnitude of that force vector, then x component of the force Fx is equal to F into cos of theta x, y component is F into cos of theta y, and z component is F into cos of theta z. So here the definition of theta x, theta y, and theta z are very important. Okay, for example, what is theta x? Angle made by that force vector F with respect to positive x-axis, which is measured in the plane formed by that force and x-axis, and similarly for theta y and theta z, right? So yesterday we have seen, right? Next thing also we define the unit vector. Unit vector is whose magnitude is a unit, and it is defined as that vector divided by its magnitude, any vector divided by its magnitude. Okay, not only a force vector, it can be acceleration vector or velocity vector, any vector. Okay, so that particular vector divided by its magnitude is known as the unit vector, and of course its magnitude is unit 1. Okay, then we derived this very important identity, that is 1 is equal to cos square theta x plus cos square theta y plus cos square theta z. And here this cos of theta x, cos of theta y, and cos of theta z, these are known as direction cosines, right? Also we solve this one problem based on whatever we discussed, right? Okay, and now I am giving this problem number 2 for homework. Okay, so please try to solve this problem on the similar ground, whatever we solve the problem number 1 on the similar basis. I have given this problem as a homework, so please try to solve this problem. Anyhow, I'm going to share all these PPTs with you all. Till then, just you take the screenshot of this screen, slide number 9, and try to solve this problem. Okay. Now we will discuss in the today's class. This is a very important case. When a force is defined by its magnitude and any 2 points on its line of action. So in this case, now how to resolve that force into its 3 rectangular components. So this is a very important case. Okay, so what happens in many applications, the direction of a force F is defined by the coordinates of any 2 points M, whose coordinates are, say, suppose x1, y1, z1, and N, whose coordinates are, say, x2, y2, z2, which are located on its line of action as shown in the figure below. Okay, so that means what? Okay, so this is the coordinate system is given. This is a positive x-axis, then this is your positive y-axis, and this is a suppose positive z-axis, and this is the origin somewhere here, right? This is the origin, and this is the space force, something like this. So this is your space force, something like this, whose direction is something like this, acting in this direction. Okay, the arrow is shown, right? And let this M and N, these are the any 2 points on the line of action of this force. Okay, see, please note that M and N, these are the any 2 points on the line of action of this force. Okay, now what is the direction of this force? The direction of this force is from M to N. Please note that M to N, very important. Direction of the force is from M to N. So M is first point and N is your second point. Please note that. Okay, and hence we are Now let x1, y1, z1, these are the coordinates of the M point, I mean the first point, and that is why here the subscript 1 is put here. Okay, x1, y1, z1, right? And let now n is the second point on the line of action of the this force F, and let the x2, y2, and z2, these are the x, y, and z coordinates of the second point, right? So n is the second point, and that is why here the subscript 2 is used here. Okay, I hope you are getting what I'm saying, right? Now, after what is given here? Here given is the magnitude and direction of the force F, something like this. Say for example, magnitude is, say, suppose 100 Newton, for example, and its direction is given something like this. And let M and N, these are the any 2 points on its line of action whose coordinates are known to us. Coordinates are known to us. So please note that the coordinate of M and the coordinate of N, these are known to us. And once we know all these things, then what we have done? Then we have constructed this cube, something like this, by considering this Mn as a diagonal. Please note that Mn as a diagonal, then we have constructed this cube something like this. Okay, this one. Now here this Mn is the diagonal of this particular cube, right? Okay, I hope you have understood this. Now, what should be the dimensions of this cube? What should be the dimension along x-axis? So this is the dimension of this cube along x-axis that I am representing by, say, dx. And of course, what should be this length dx of this particular cube? No doubt it must be x2 minus x1. Okay, where what is x2? x2 is the x coordinate of the second point, that is n, minus x1, which is x coordinate of the first point, that is m, right? Similarly, what should be the dimension along y-axis of this particular cube? Let the dimension of this particular cube along y-axis is, suppose, dy. Of course, this dy is equal to y2 minus y1, where y2 is the y coordinate of n, and this y1 is y coordinate of the first point m. Similarly, along z-axis, so this is the z-axis, please note that, right? So along z-axis, let the dimension of this cube is, say, suppose dz. No doubt, what must be dz? Dz must be z2 minus z1, and of course this difference must be what I can say, okay, z2 minus z1 must be less than 0. Okay, otherwise what happens? I mean, if z1 is equal to z2, say, suppose, then in that case it will be converted into a two-dimensional case. Okay, fine. Okay, so now, okay, fine, I have written here. Okay, so dx is x2 minus x1, then dy is y2 minus y1, and dz is z2 minus z1. Very simple to remember, very simple, right? Now let LMN. Now what is this L? This symbol L? L is the length of this MN is, say, suppose I am denoting by symbol, say, small d. So as per the linear algebra, you have, I think you have studied this linear algebra in 12th standard, maybe 11th or 12th. So as per the knowledge, or from the knowledge of linear algebra, it is clear that the length Mn, that means the d, must be equal to root of dx square plus dy square plus dz square. Well, what is dx, what is dy, and what is dz already we have defined here. Okay, so please note that here we know the coordinates of point M as well as point N. So that means x1, y1, z1, x2, y2, z2 are known. That is what is this case. So force is defined by its magnitude and any two points on its line of action. Okay, so now in this particular case, how to resolve a force into three components? along x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. That's what we are going to discuss. Okay. Now again, here I am defining, of course, this lambda is a unit vector, correct? Unit vector, right? How it is defined as any vector divided by its magnitude. Now here I am defining this unit vector as the line vector mn bar divided by its magnitude. Okay, so this line vector mn, m to n, divided by its magnitude, and the magnitude of mn is the d, which I define here. Okay, so the magnitude of mn is d, which is equal to root of dx square plus dy square plus dz square, right? Fine. So what should be now? Okay, this mn bar, in short, in other words, this mn bar in vector form must be equal to, no doubt, yeah, okay, already I have written here, right? So mn bar is equal to dxi plus dyj plus dzk, while I, j, k, these are the unit vectors along x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, correct? So please remember this, mn bar is equal to dxi plus dyj plus dzk, while dx, dy, dz, these are given by these equations, and hence the d is root of dx square plus dy square plus dz square. Okay, so now I'm substituting the value of mn bar from this equation dxi plus dyj plus dzk here, and divided by d. Okay, this particular equation. So this is the equation for what I can say, the unit vector. Okay, so now please note that we are in short, we are expressing the unit vector in terms of coordinates. What is dx? Dx is x2 minus x1. What is dy? y2 minus y1, and so on, right? So we have expressed this unit vector in terms of the coordinates, right? Also now we know that this equation, the force vector F is equal to its magnitude multiplied by the unit vector, right? So unit vector, we know the force vector F divided by its magnitude, correct? Or F bar, this F bar is equal to F into lambda bar, correct? Now what is lambda? Of course, this is lambda bar, this is a vector quantity. Please note that the bold face letters are the vectors. Okay, in all my slides, the bold faced letters are the vector quantities. Okay, so now I am substituting this value of lambda here, this here, right? And hence I got this f upon d, where this f is the magnitude. Please note that this is the magnitude, which is a scalar quantity. So f divided by d into bracket dxi plus dyj plus dzk, correct? Okay, so in other words, I can express this particular equation in this form also. That means f into dx by di, correct? See here, this one, f into dx upon di, correct, plus this f into dy by dj, that's what, okay, and plus f into dz by dk. Okay, also we know that we have discussed yesterday, this is a force vector F is equal to f cos of theta xi plus f cos of theta yj plus f cos of theta zk. We know this. Now if I compare these two equations, this one and this one, what I will get? I will get, no doubt, cos of theta x. So this cos of theta x, that must be equal to what? Dx by d. Okay, another important formula I have derived for the direction cosines. So cos of theta x is equal to dx by d, cos of theta y is equal to dy by d, and cos of z is equal to dz by d, while dx, dy, dz and d already we have defined here in terms of coordinates, correct? Right? And fx is equal to this f into dx by d, fy is equal to f into dy by d, right? And fz is equal to F into dz by d. So this is clear from this particular equation. Okay, so x component of the force is F into dx by d. Y component of this force vector F is equal to F into dy by d, and so on. Right? I hope you are getting what I'm saying, right? So now that means what, in short, now if we know the magnitude and direction of the force, and if that force is defined by any 2 points on its line of action, then very quickly we can find, we can find its components along x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis by using the knowledge whatever we discussed just now. Okay, so by using the knowledge whatever we discussed just now, let us solve the next problem, the problem number 3. Okay, so go through the problem. A transmission tower is held by 3 guy wires anchored by bolts at B, C, and D. B, C, and D. If the tension in wire AB, so this is the wire AB, right? So if the tension in wire AB is 2100 Newton, determine the components of the force exerted by the wire on the bolt at B. Please note that, at B. Determine the components of this particular force, 2100 Newton force exerted by the wire on the bolt at B. Okay, so in the problem it is clearly mentioned that there is a tensile force in this wire AB, and we know how to represent tension. I told you how to represent tension and compression. Okay, so as far as this wire AB is concerned, when the point B is under consideration, the direction of tension is away from B. Okay, and for the same cable AB, as far as point A is concerned, what must be the direction of tension? It is away from A. Okay, so away from B, this direction, and then away from A means this direction. Now out of these two, which direction we have to consider, whether like this, from B to A or A to B. So that depends upon what has been asked in the problem. Now see here what is asked in the problem. If the tension in wire AB is 2100 Newton, determine the components of the force exerted by the wire on the bolt at B. It is now clearly mentioned. To determine the components of this force, 2100 Newton force, of course tensile force, exerted at point B. Now here point under consideration is B. So we are going to consider this direction, means away from B, because it is a tension. Okay, that means in short, we have to consider the nearest direction, in short, nearest direction. Okay, so that means from point B, which is the nearest direction? This one. Okay, so this direction we have to consider. That means the force is acting away from B to A and not from A to B. Very important, very, very important. Even though it is mentioned in this problem that, see here, if the tension in the wire AB is 2100 Newton. So in short, the tension in wire AB, that must be equal to TBA in magnitude. Please note that. So tension in wire AB is equal to tension in wire BA. Okay, their magnitude is same. Okay. Now, as from this statement, now it is clear that we are going to find out the components of this force, which I'm denoting by now TB to A. Please note that TBA. So this tension in cable AB is acting from point B to point A. Okay, so here B is your first point and A is your second point. Please note that. It's very, very important, very important. So force is acting from B to A. Likewise, here what we discussed in the theory, here the force was acting from M to N. So M was our first point and N was second point. Okay. So and then we define dx, dy, dz as x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, and z2 minus z1. That means, in short, coordinates of second point minus coordinates of first point. This is how you remember. Coordinates of second point minus coordinates of first point. So now, as far as this particular problem is concerned, your B is a first point, B is your first point, and A is your second point. So that means coordinates of point A minus coordinates of point B. This is how you are going to do for the resolution of this TBA. Okay, I hope you have understood what I said. Right, so the very important step is write the coordinates of the concerned points. So here, as far as this problem is concerned, here we require only the coordinates of point A and B, points A and B. Okay, so what about the coordinates of point B? So this is the point B. Okay, so origin is given here. This is the origin O. This is the positive x-axis. Vertically upward is positive y-axis, and this is your positive z-axis. So x, y, z, these axes have been defined in the problem. Okay, so with respect to this positive x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, you write the coordinates of points A and B. Okay, if you do any mistake while writing the coordinates, the whole problem will be wrong. Right? Fine. Now see here, write the coordinates of point B. Now see, from this 3D view, three-dimensional figure, it is clear that point B is located in XZ plane, while XZ plane is a horizontal plane. Okay, and hence no doubt, as point B is located in XZ plane, and hence y coordinate must be 0. Okay, right. Now first of all, let us find the x coordinate. So this is our x-axis, right? This is the x-axis, something like this. So to know the coordinate, the x coordinate of point B, you take the projection of point B onto x-axis, something like this. Okay, so let the projection of point B on x-axis, say it is somewhere here, say suppose, say bx, for example. And then you measure the distance between the origin and this point bx along x-axis. So this is the distance. So how much is that distance? See here, it is already given. It is 4 meter. Okay, so please note all the dimensions are in meter. Here note is given. All dimensions are in meter. Okay. So the x coordinate of point B is 4 meter. Now whether it is positive or negative, whether this point B, say this projection Bx, is it on positive x side or negative x side? Of course it is on negative x side, and hence minus 4 meter. Okay. Next, what about y coordinate? What about y coordinate of point B? As I already told you, point B is in xz plane, so y coordinate of point B is 0. Then next you write, you find the z coordinate of point B. So to know the z coordinate of point B, you take the projection of B onto z axis. So this is your z axis. Okay. So take the projection of point B onto the z axis, right? And let that point B is, suppose, say BZ, right? And then you measure the distance of BZ, the point BZ, from point, the origin. Okay, so this will be your this thing, the z coordinate. This will be z coordinate of point B. So how much is that? It is given here, which is this 5 meter. Okay, now plus or minus. So from this figure it is clear that it is on point B, or BZ is on positive Z axis side, right? Okay, so plus 5 meter, right? Next, you write the coordinates of point A. Okay, now point A point A is on y axis, correct? Exactly, point A is on y axis. So no doubt the other two coordinates, that means x coordinate and z coordinate, must be 0, right? So it will have, the point A will have only y coordinate. Okay, so how much is the y coordinate of point A? This is what, which is 20 meter, right? 20 meter. Okay, so x coordinate of point A is 0, y coordinate is plus 20, z coordinate is also 0, right? So here I have given, please note that I have given the same, for your convenience, for your understanding, I have given the same color for x coordinate. I mean red color for x coordinate, then blue color for y coordinate, and green color for z coordinate. Okay, now already in the problem, the magnitude of the force in tensile force in wire AB is given. Of course, now here what is the direction of that force? It is from it is from B to A, and that is why here it is written as FBA. Okay, you may choose any symbol, maybe find F or maybe say T. It is up to you. It is up to you. Okay, fine. So FBA is 2100 Newton. So this is the direction of that force, FBA. Okay. Now, as we know now in vector notation, how this FBA is to be defined as, FBA is equal to its magnitude FBA into the unit vector lambda BA. Okay, so this is vector quantity, please note that this one and this one, these two are the vector quantities, while FBA is the magnitude of this vector FBA, which is given 2100. Okay, so here I can now write this F bar BA is equal to, its magnitude is known to us, which is 2100, right? Now how can I define this this unit vector lambda bar BA? We have already defined it. It is the line vector BA divided by its magnitude BA. Okay, I hope you are getting what I'm saying. So this is what the definition of the unit vector lambda bar BA, lambda bar BA. Now I will write the expression for BA bar first. Okay, how can I write now the expression for BA bar? Yeah, okay, already I have written here. Let me explain it again. So how can I write the expression for BA bar? So that is nothing but what? dxi plus dyj plus dzk, correct? Plus dzk. Now as far as the line vector BA is concerned, now what is dx? Dx is x2 minus x1, correct? Now how much is x2? X2 means what? X coordinate of second point. So please note that here your B is the first point and A is second point. Very important, because force is acting from B to A. So B is first point and A is second point. So coordinates of second point minus coordinates of first point, right? So as for now, what is the now what is x2? X2 is nothing but what? X coordinate of second point, that is A. So what is the x coordinate of second point? That means A, which is 0, minus x1. What is x1? X coordinate of the first point, where first point is B. So what is the x coordinate of first point? Which is minus 4. Now minus minus becomes plus 4, and hence dx is 4 meter, and that is what is given here, dxi. I means unit vector along x-axis, correct? So we got the magnitude of dx as plus 4 meter. Okay. Any doubt till this point? Yes, please give me response.
No doubt.
No, sir. No.
Okay,
No, sir.
good, good, very good, fine. Now, let us find this dy. Let us find this dy. So, what is dy? Yes, dy is y2 minus y1. Okay, see, we have already discussed here. Okay, dy is y2 minus y1. Dz is z2 minus z1, and this is clear from linear algebra. Correct? Yeah. So, what about dy, which is y2? Now, y2 means what? Y coordinate of second point, and y1 is y coordinate of first point. So, second point is A. Okay. So, y2 means this 20, blue color 20, minus y1 means 0, this one. Okay. So, 20 minus 0 is, okay, this is 20 minus 0, which is plus 20. Okay. So, it is y. Y means along y-axis, and j is the unit vector along y-axis, right? Okay, so plus this 20j, right? Okay. Similarly, you write the expression. You find the dz. Okay, so how to compute dz? Dz is, sorry, z2 minus z1. So what about z2? Z2 means z coordinate of the second point. Second point means A. That means 0 minus y1, where y1 is, sorry, z1 minus z1. So z1 is z coordinate of the first point. That means B, which is plus 5 meter. Plus 5 meter. So dz is minus 5. That's what minus 5 into k, because I am writing vector. Please note that vector, I am writing vector, the line vector BA. So what is the expression for the line vector BA, which is 4i plus 20j minus 5k in meter units, right? Then what about magnitude of this line vector BA? That means what? The length BA. Yes. So already I told you here. Okay. Already we have discussed. So this d is equal to root of dx square plus dy square plus dz square, right? So the magnitude of this vector BA is equal to root of square root of dx square. So this is dx, while this is dy, and this is dz, correct? So root of dx square plus dy square plus dz square. Okay, after taking the square root, you will get the length BA, as 21 meter, right? Of course, now this as it is a length, this is a scalar quantity, so it will not have any plus or minus sign, okay, because it is a scalar quantity. Okay, fine. So then next, so as I already told you here, so we are expressing this f as f into lambda. So here it is FBA, correct, in vector notation, and this is FBA in magnitude, and this is lambda bar BA, correct. Now what you do, you find the expression for this lambda bar BA. Okay, so lambda bar BA multiplied by its magnitude. Now what is this lambda bar BA? Already I told you, lambda bar BA is nothing but what? The line vector BA divided by its magnitude. Now what about this magnitude BA? It is 21 meter, this one, correct. And what is BA bar? This is what the BA bar, this one. This I will substitute here. Okay, so that means what it is here, it is, yeah, here I have written the expression, right? So f is equal to, this is vector, please note that, is equal to f into lambda BA. Of course, again this is also a vector, is equal to this f as it is, whose magnitude is already known to us, please note that, which is 2100 Newton. Now BA bar upon BA. Okay. So this is magnitude of f is written here, 2100 Newton. divided by this magnitude of BA is 21 meter, which is written here, and BA bar is written in this bracket. Okay, I hope you are getting what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right? Any doubt till this point?
No.
Okay.
No,
And
sir.
then
No,
what
sir.
you do? You just now you multiply this. I mean this 2100 divided by 21 multiplied by 4 to get the x component. So this is what nothing but what the x component. I coefficient means x component. To know the y component, this ratio 2100 divided by 21 multiplied by 20. This will give us the y component. Okay, right? And then how will you get the z component? This 2100 divided by 21 multiplied by 5, of course minus 5. So you will get the z component, which is minus 500 Newton. Okay, so 400 plus 400 Newton is your x component, plus 2000 is your y component, and minus 500 is your z component of that given force, whose magnitude is 2100 Newton. Okay, so here the x component, y component, and z component have been written. Okay, sometimes it may be asked to find out the direction cosines also. So how will you find out the direction cosines? Already I have given the formula. See here. So sometimes it is also asked to find out the direction cosines. That means, I mean, the value of cos of theta x, and hence to find the value of theta x, then theta y, and theta z also. So using this formula, cos of theta x is equal to dx by d, cos of theta y is equal to dy by d, and cos of theta z is equal to dz by z, you can find out the values of theta x, theta y, and theta z. Okay, it is. I hope you have understood this. Is it clear?
Yes.
Any doubt? Yes?
No, sir.
Okay,
No
now
doubt.
let us discuss one more problem. So this is problem number 3. 3 cables are used to tether a balloon as shown in the figure. It's to hold the balloon in the position as shown in the figure. So this is a hydrogen balloon, okay, which will tend to move up. Okay, but it is held in the position as shown in the figure by means of these 3 cables. Okay, cable 1, cable 2, and cable 3. Determine the vertical force P, capital P, exerted by the balloon at A. Exerted by the balloon at A, knowing that the tension in cable AB is 259 Newton. Okay. So please understand the problem first, right? So this is the balloon which is tied at point A by means of these 3 cables, AB, AC, and AD. So no doubt, there must be tension in all the cables. Okay, so how to represent tension in cable AB or BA? So tension is represented by away from the point under consideration, or away from the body under consideration. Now if I consider point A, it is away from A. If I consider point B, it is away from point B. Okay, similarly for cable AC, again there is a tension in cable AC. So how to represent tension? If I choose point A, it is away from point A. If I choose point C, it is away from point C. Okay. Similarly for cable AD, there is again tension. If I choose point A, it is away from point A. If I choose point D, it is away from point D. Okay. Now read the question here. Now you have understood how to represent the tension. Okay. So the 3 cables are used to tether the balloon as shown in the figure. Determine the vertical force P. Now see here, it is clearly mentioned. To determine vertical force P exerted by the balloon at A, at point A. So this balloon will tend to move up. Okay, because it is a hydrogen balloon. right? So it will tend to move up, and the tension exerted by the balloon at point A is P, which is vertically upward. Okay, so here we know the direction of P, but we don't know magnitude. That is what is asked. That is what is asked, to determine the vertical force P exerted by the balloon at A. So here we know the direction of P. It is vertically upward. Okay. Okay. And one more thing is given. If the tension in cable AB is 259 Newton. If the tension in cable AB is 259 Newton. So this is that cable AB. Okay. So can anybody answer whether this is a problem on equilibrium or not? Whether,
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
in
Tension
short,
should be equal to the force of the balloon.
no, just you give me the answer. Give me the answer of to my question, whether the balloon or the entire system is in equilibrium or not.
Yes, equilibrium.
Yes, correct.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
correct. This is a problem on equilibrium. Please note that equilibrium. Okay, so here now you are going to consider free body diagram of which point? Can anybody answer?
P.
Point A. Point A. Please note that now you are going to consider equilibrium of point A. Now point A is acted upon by how many forces? Now here, please note that here which is the point under consideration? The point A is under consideration. Now as far as point A is concerned, what are the different forces acting on it? One is the vertical force P, which we have to calculate. Then next, what is the next force? As the point under consideration is A, so the force from A to B, I mean this is the tension, so tension A to B. Please note how I am representing tension. I am not representing this tension from B to A, it is from A to B, because point A is under consideration, so you have to consider the nearest direction. What is the nearest direction to A? This is what tension away from A. So these directions we are going to consider, and not this one. Okay, nearest direction. Okay, yeah. So the direction of tension in cable AB is from A to B. See here, A to B. Similarly, what about direction of tension in cable CA? Yes. What is the direction? It is from A to C. And then what about direction of tension in cable AD? It is from A to D. Okay. So this TAB, TAC and TAD, these are the magnitudes of the tension in cable AB, AC and AD respectively. So point A is acted upon by these four forces P, TAB, TAC and TAD. And while point A is in equilibrium, static equilibrium, and hence how much the resultant force acting at point A? 0. Okay. Now in two-dimensional case we have studied that. If resultant force is equal to 0, then summation Fx is equal to 0 and summation Fy is equal to 0 for 2D case. Now what about for three-dimensional case? There will be one more additional equation, that is summation Fz is equal to 0. Okay. Now please note that this is a concurrent force system in space. What is this force system? Concurrent force system. Concurrent. All these four forces P, TAB, TAC, TAD, all these four forces are passing through some common point A. So this is a problem on concurrent force system in space. Is it clear? And for concurrent force system in space, how many equations are available? One, summation Fx is equal to 0 as equation 1. Then second equation is summation Fy is equal to 0. And third equation is summation Fz is equal to 0. So here already the tension in cable AB is given, which is 259 Newton. Correct? So in all, how many unknowns are there? P, TAD and TAC, 3. So in all, there are total 3 unknowns. While how many equations available? 3 equations available. And hence we can solve for these 3 unknowns. Okay. What you do then? Now here we know ultimately now what we are going to do. We are going to find out summation fx, then equate it to 0, develop one equation, then find out summation fy, equate it to 0, develop second equation, then find out summation fz, equate it to 0, and develop third equation, and solve all these 3 equations simultaneously to solve for these unknowns, 3 unknowns, P, TAD and TAC. Correct. Now to know this summation fx, summation fy and summation fz, we must have to resolve all these 4 forces P, TAB, TAC, TAD into 3 components x, y and z. Are you getting what I'm saying? Any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So resolve all these 4 forces into 3 rectangular components and then find out summation fx. Then means what? You take the algebraic sum of x components of all these 4 forces. Okay. And similarly summation fy and similarly summation fz. Now see here, the problem has been solved for you here. Okay. So consider first, okay, as I told you, we have to consider FBD of the point A, right? So this is the point A, right? And I have shown all these 4 forces. Now next step is write the coordinates of all these points A, B, C, D, points which are concerned. Of course, here all the points are important, A, B, C as well as D. Okay. So just I will explain you how to write the coordinates of this ABCD points, and then we will stop here, right? And the remaining problem we will continue in the tomorrow's class. Now see here, first of all, write the x, y and z coordinates of point A. As I told here, the coordinate system is given in the problem. This is your positive x-axis, then this is a positive y-axis, and this is positive z-axis. So this is the origin. So point A is exactly vertically above the origin. That means point A is on y-axis, and hence it will have x component, I mean x coordinate and z coordinate as 0. Okay, so x coordinate and z coordinate as 0. Okay, then what about y coordinate? So this is what the y coordinate. So how much is y coordinate? It is given here, which is 5.6 meter. Of course, plus 5.6 meter. Okay. Then point B. Point B is located on x-axis. Correct. See here, point B is located on x-axis. Of course, on negative side. Right. So the other 2 coordinates, that means z coordinate and y coordinate, must be 0. Okay. So then what about x coordinate? So this will be your x coordinate directly. Yes, minus 4.2 meter. As I told you, y coordinate and z coordinate is 0 because point B is in xz plane. Correct? Fine. Next, point C. Where is the point? Yeah, this is the point C. Okay. So point C is in xz plane. Point C is in xz plane. So no doubt its y coordinate must be 0. So what about x coordinate? To know the x coordinate, take the projection of point C on x-axis. So suppose Cx is this projection, projected point, and then measure the distance between origin and point Cx. So this is this distance we need. So how much is this distance? It is given. Here it is 2.4 meter. Of course, plus 2.4 meter because it is on positive x-axis. So plus 2.4 meter. Correct. What about y coordinate? Fine, as it is located in point C is located in xz plane, so no doubt y coordinate is 0. What about now z coordinate? To know the z coordinate, take the projection of point C on to the z axis. So this is your z axis. So this is suppose the projected point is this is CZ. Then measure the distance between point O and CZ. Okay, so measure this CZ. I mean O and the distance between O and CZ, which is 4.2 meter, of course with plus sign. Right? Okay, and then find write the coordinates of point D finally. So this is the point D. Point D is located on z-axis. So other two coordinates must be 0. That means x coordinate as well as y coordinate must be 0. X coordinate is 0, y coordinate is 0. And what about z coordinate? It is, as point D is on negative side of the z-axis, so it is minus 3.3 meter. Okay, so as I already told you, point A is in equilibrium, so resultant is equal to 0, and hence these are the three equations will be available to solve the three unknowns, right? Okay, so we will stop here. We will continue the remaining problem in the tomorrow's class. So please wait, let me download the attendance. Please wait, let me download the attendance.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.